Oh, sorry.
Don't talk.
Shush. Oh. All right. We got the scene over. I feel pretty good about this. And so I'm just going to do an intro of episode 2, Friends with Backlog, live episode here with me, Frosty, as one of the hosts, Orpheon as the other host, and Cammy as host number 3. Because we're all repeating.
There's always a number 3.
Yeah.
I gotta be in it.
Yeah. Number 3.
Rule
I mean,
three.
you know what?
Now,
I was thinking about just changing our cameras around every week and just saying we're in just different spots. I didn't know how to do it
It doesn't matter to me.
in a way
Right.
that was like even. You guys don't care?
I don't think it matters. Although I would like it if people noticed it and started commenting like, "Why is Cammy always in the bottom?" And so you
Player
guys think lesser of
3.
him, and you're like, "Whoa!"
I mean,
we
what we
can't-
could do is we can count the number of words that each one of us say, like every single episode, and then pull up a graph, and whoever says the most words is rank 1. Whoever says the
Okay.
second
Oh,
most
okay.
is rank 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could do a
I
ranking
like
system
this.
if you
There's
want.
no way this can go wrong.
Mm-mm.
For the whoever's watching and listening to this right now, this is just basically us talking about our backlog of games and stuff that we want to do and things that we've done over the week, and an excuse just to talk with each other. So, welcome to the show. We're here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We don't really need to introduce ourselves. We did that last week. It's like,
Yeah, well, I made the joke.
Yeah.
We should always introduce ourselves to a different piece, like Orpheon here, House Ravenclaw.
okay.
Every week, something different.
Cammy, what's it this week?
Our names are in cursive. I'm just impressed by that.
Yeah,
That's
Photoshop.
really.
Like
That's a really. Do you normally introduce yourself with your complimenting the respective person's fonts?
it's a good
I really want
icebreaker.
to see you in a job interview. What I really like about this place is your guys' application had excellent fonts. They
Really
didn't
good.
use Comic Sans.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's the font guy.
Do you like the layout, Cammy?
Yeah, I think it looks good.
I think
Although
it
we got
has
some like
various
Technicolor
elements
Friends with
that'll-
backlog.
Yeah, it doesn't mesh as well as I wanted to,
doesn't
but it's
mesh.
just stuff.
It kind of reminds me of in like Mario 64, where you have like the shimmering pools that you could jump into, and maybe you
Mhm.
have like the rainbow ones that you could jump into for special things, and the silver ones, and that's what kind of reminds me of.
Okay.
Bringing it all back to video games. That's what I'm trying.
I mean, it looked like just a staticky color TV. I figured that was good.
I think you're right with that.
Yeah, so I went with that one. There's a couple other ones, but they didn't look as interesting. So I went with this. It's an evolving concept, evolving assets, evolving logo. And if you guys have opinions, then I will change anything because I don't care. Because really, what I figured the best thing for me to do is at least use this as testing grounds for Mog Talk. And I can just like try things here and see if it's shit. And if it is, then I won't use it on Mog Talk.
We're trials. I like that.
Yeah. But, all right. So the show, we said last week we'd play Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yep.
I want to know how far you guys got.
Actually, before I answer that, because you started this point, how far are you, Mark?
I'm trying to get you guys to say it first.
No.
I don't feel bad.
You've been
How
playing it
far
for the
are you?
longest.
Yeah. No. You get, because I don't want us to go on for like 10 minutes, and it turns out you were like halfway through Act 1. And you're
That might be where I'm at.
Yeah,
That might be where I'm at. I'm got one person on my side, and I'm working on getting
Oh,
the lady
nice.
on my side. Yeah, well,
Oh,
I forget
no.
her name.
Nice. Was it Masako?
Yeah, Masako, I think. So I'm working on that.
So you're ready for you got a one-man army. You're good. Just keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. So I did that. It's funny. Like I don't know what it is. Like I like the game. I enjoy it. But after a while, I'm kind of just done progressing, and I just go on to something else. I don't know. It's not a bad game. It's just that it's hard for it to keep my interest for too long because I'd rather usually do something else at some point.
Yeah. How far are you, Nick?
I think I'm at the very end of Act 1. I just rescued my uncle.
Okay.
Okay. I am a couple missions into Act 2.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You guys did a lot better than I did in a month.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't. Brian is
You're
crazy.
you're doing great, Mark. You're just fabulous. You just got to put a couple missions. Well, hold up, but you're not even like distracted by side quests, or you're like, I gotta
I
pet
am.
every
I mean,
fox
I
in
kind
the
of
whole island.
if I see a question mark or I see an icon or I see something, I'm like, I'm gonna go check it out. You know, if it
Yeah.
kind of looks like I want to go check it out, I'll just go do it real quick. I don't think about it. I'm not like I don't want to just go rush through the story. I just want to kind of absorb it and take it in and
Make it a little more immersive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm just rushing through it. And I think that's one of the big things that we probably should for games like this. Is just make sure that we're not doing this and also not enjoying the games that we're playing because we're rushing through and forcing ourselves through it. Because then that's not fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say I have a habit of that. Like when I'm playing, I mean, there's just so many games to play, and I want to play everything. And so, like when I played God of War, I didn't do a lot of the side stuff. I just kind of pushed through, and I was fine ignoring it all. And with this, okay, so I'll get you this, Mark. I didn't really care for the game for the first 6 hours,
Okay.
5 or 6 hours. I didn't care for the combat all that much.
Mhm.
And this also comes back to my love of Sekiro. Like the combat in the very beginning, I found incredibly not satisfying, especially the way that there's a lot of other classes have. I shouldn't say class. Enemy archetypes. They have
Okay.
those unblockable attacks, and there were so many of them, and even dodging didn't really work. And I was like, this is not satisfying. And after about 5 or 6 hours, it's I don't know what you guys did this. I went into the deflection tree. First, all my skill points just went down, 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 down. So
Oh,
I had
that's what I
all
have on the parry.
all the deflections.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have all
all
of
of
them right
them.
now. Yep.
And now once they're done, you're like, we're fucking online. We're ready to crush it.
But the invasion one where you're rolling, that one's
Yeah.
so much more fun. Holy crap, that's fun. Like I don't really care much for the fighting, but like rolling everywhere, like rolling between like 10 enemies and then up to an archer and killing it.
When you catch on fire, you're like, now we're in Daddy's court. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I
agree. didn't
am
really
like
think that the
still,
fighting was super great.
huh?
So I didn't think the fighting was super great. You know what? I thought it was a decent beat me up. Much better design than like Spider-Man. Spider-Man, even though I love Spider-Man, fighting is like kind of basic, and this was a step up from that as far as like a beat 'em up game, which I enjoyed. But I also thought like the open world was kind of a dumbed down version of what like a normal open. Like if I'm gonna collect something, don't make it just generic supplies. It seems sad in a way.
So I think that's the way that they tried to simplify, right? Because there's like, you could go the Breath of the Wild route, which you could just have a whole bunch of shit that you would then have to manage. But they clearly your user interface is pretty minimal, so they want to keep that simplified. And I think the supplies. By the way, every time I like save someone who's literally starving, hungry, stabbed to death, and I take some of their supplies and leave, I'm like, I'm a monster. You need all
that's
of
how I
those
feel.
supplies. Like it's almost you're like,
Yeah.
do you need this kitchen table? I'm just gonna take it apart. I'm much more useful for this. I know your guys are literally starving and probably gonna die, but I need this. Like I feel like such an asshole.
That's how I felt. I didn't know if I was supposed to. I thought I'd be penalized if I take like friendly supplies or something.
Yeah. Well, I thought that too, but I realized they're not gonna go like the Elder Scrolls way, where like you steal the lantern in the house, people know it. Like
Yeah.
they're not gonna take that away from you. But Nick, I will say, once I got the deflection tree up, I actually started really liking combat because there's the perfect parries, which are pretty easy to get. I forget, like you've never played Assassin's Creed or Sekiro, have you?
I haven't. So this is the first type of game that I've played like this.
Okay.
And I just started to get into it today actually. So like the story at the end of Act 1 started to get me a little bit into it, and like
I agree.
Like I said, I didn't really care a lot for the combat. I thought it was a step up from a normal beat 'em up, and I didn't really care a lot for the open world concept because it was a little small and it didn't feel like it was as substantial as some of the other open world games that I've played. But that led me believe it's mostly about the scenery and it's mostly about the story, and really, the game's beautiful. Like you could just go off and like get on a mountain and just look around, and it's made for that. You can use that camera view to adjust the time of day and the camera angle and stuff, take pictures for you guys, I guess. I don't know.
I never got into that concept. I know it's something that people like in games, but ignore it completely. Every time they're
Same.
like, "Oh, camera stuff, oh, angles and snap," I'm like, I don't
It's one of those things I don't care about, but if there was someone we know who's like, "Oh, I run the Ghosts of Tsushima like Twitter shop account," and they just posted, I would follow that immediately. I'm like it's like there's a handful of games that do this, and some of the shots that come out of it are absolutely cool. I don't want to do it, but I love watching the work that everyone else does.
Yeah, Final
'Cause
Fantasy
it's
14 does that too. Like they have lots
oh,
of
I
little
bet.
glamour stuff, and like they try, and it's such a smart concept
Yeah,
because it's like you find people who really like it, and they post the stuff online, and it's like
yeah.
really good shots of a video game that makes people want to play it because it looks really good.
Right. Well, and right, what's the hardest thing to do from a developer's point of view is, especially knowing that developers really care about users generating their own content and stuff that
Hmm.
they don't control that can then push out, because they know users will always make the content that's more reflective of people who they want to make content for. And then in this, then it's just like, here's this tool that's, once they design it from the front end, it's actually not a lot of work, and they can
Mhm.
put it in, and it's sort of like, go to town, have fun, do something amazing. And it's never like, well, not to make it political, but they turn the Photoshop into something like horrible. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, which I'm sure happens. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's gorgeous. Oh, and I realized I was playing with the settings. So, Mark, do you have a 4K TV?
Supposedly, yes.
Okay.
Sounds like you're not satisfied with that.
I don't know. I got the TV from Costco for like $600 or something. It's like a 60-inch something, and it had really good reviews and everything. But it's been weird every once in a while. It was hard to kind of get the settings right, so it didn't look weird with video
What
games.
what model is it? I mean, or what brand I should say? Is it like Sony?
LG,
Is it like LG? Oh yeah, LG is usually really really good
I think.
quality.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I was playing with the settings because I had a problem too. So with my my receiver actually can't transmit 4K through,
Hmm.
so I have to take it out and it just runs by itself. So my sound system is coming from my TV, which is still really good, but it's sort of my sacrifice to let the HDR. And I was playing with it like, what is it non HDR? What is it regular?
Mm.
I'll tell you what, it is. It is a remarkably difference from just a regular like 1080p to HDR. It's just like, holy God, this is
Hmm.
so gorgeous.
Yeah, it has
Like,
Well,
HDR
you're
on it.
really into that, anyways.
yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, Cammy, you just need to come over and I'll show you what it's like, because the difference is really stark. Like, and it's
Yeah.
like,
So you didn't do, I'm guessing you didn't do the Kurosawa view where you could change everything to black and white and staticky, just like
oh
that
yeah,
too.
yeah. No, because it's awesome. Because one thing they do is the way that they don't it's not just a color gradient change; it changes the
Mhm.
frame rate,
Yeah.
so you can see it moves like a movie, and you're like, this is so good. Like, I don't
So
like playing the game like that, but it looks really
I
neat,
am
like moving through
I
it.
am
Yeah.
really curious. Did you change the voices to Japanese, or did you leave it on English?
Oh,
I had
100%
Japanese.
Japanese with subtitle. There's no way I wanted that to be
So
in English.
English is the one it was made with.
Yes.
So I played originally with Japanese for like the first hour or two, and then like there were noises going on in my house and stuff, and I was having a rough time. When I watch anime, I can read the subtitles and it's fine, but when I'm trying to like control a character as I'm reading the subtitles and pay attention to everything
It's
around me,
hard.
it got hard. So I
Honestly,
stopped that and I went
yeah.
to English for like the last few hours I played, and voice acting was just superb. In fact, they got some famous voice actors in there, so I thought that
Yeah,
was
it's
kind of
not
cool.
that bad. It's not that
Yeah.
bad, and it is weird because
Mhm.
when you see it in Japanese, or sorry, listen to it in Japanese, and you
Yeah.
watch the mouths, they don't match up well. So it's like a reverse.
I've heard the sync is off, which people thought it was off because it was reversed, but it wasn't. That there's something in the timing, the way
Hmm.
that the scripting is a little off. But
You noticed. Have you? So the guy who plays the Bowmaster, he's a famous actor. That once he started speaking, I'm like, oh, I know your voice. And when you know him, you're like, oh, your character in the game looks just like you. It's just
Is it
game version of you. Yeah. Well, who's that guy? I've seen him
yeah.
before. He's like seen him as like a scientist and something.
a scientist?
Yeah.
Classic. You got typecast, always a scientist.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm gonna look it
Stop
up.
wearing your
I
glasses.
know.
Auditions.
I'm fairly confident they probably got some famous actors or voice actors. I think one of them was
Oh shit,
like
he looks just like him. What's
Yeah,
his
no,
name?
and
Daisuke Suji?
the main villain. I think is the guy from
no, I'm
what's
taking an
Doctor
Ishikawa.
Strange, right?
Let me look
Is he?
at Patrick Gallagher.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up now. You guys are making me look this up.
I know. Well,
All right, let's see. Is it an IMDb? Where do you put video game? Yeah, it's there. Okay.
yeah, a lot of video game stuff pops in here.
So cast. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's Patrick
was it Frank
Gallagher.
Nick, you're
I think
totally
I know
right.
him from Lost because he's the dude, and he's a scientist in Lost who's like behind the scenes of like everything the Islanders are going through. He
Is
has
he in Lost?
videos in Lost. Yeah, he's like one of like the I think the background like characters who kind of
Oh,
created the
he's
island.
Dr. Pierre Chang. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
was gonna
that's what I
say
remember him from.
he's also shit. He's in the Tick.
He is, yeah.
I was like,
I love
oh,
his voice.
Well,
I
he's
think
not in.
great.
He's not in Doctor Strange. I'm completely wrong. I don't think he is. At least I don't see it.
no, I know who you're thinking of. It's their facial structure is kind of like that rounded kind of face is similar. But no, the Doctor Strange.
That's what I assume. But I thought I read it somewhere. Maybe I'm reading just dumb information somewhere. I don't know.
Dumb information. Yeah, the Doctor Strange guy is Benedict Wong, and that's not Patrick
Oh,
Gallagher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the game, again, I know you guys didn't have high expectations because of Dylan's review of it. But
That didn't affect me.
Did it
I'm
not?
not gonna lie. Well, for a game like this, like, actually, to be honest, I think his experience didn't affect mine because I don't really understand what he really likes in games yet. So if someone doesn't like it, it's like if both of you were like, I thought this was unplayable, I would be like, shit, I'm not gonna like this game because I can't think of a game where you two did not like it, and I was like, you guys were clearly drunk and not paying attention.
I stay usually pretty middle of the road for most of my opinions. Like, I mean, I go one way or the other, but I never go like extreme, like this is the best game in the world, or extreme worst game ever played. Like, I'm always like somewhat understanding that it's a video game that took work and effort, and that there's something to it that has a quality that people probably like.
Yeah, I can't think of a AAA game that's come out. I mean, that I've played. There's probably some that are awful that I just did not care for. I was like, this game is terrible. That was a big AAA game. I can't.
Valorant.
It worked. What?
Valorant.
What was that?
Valorant.
No. Okay, Valorant.
I don't really consider that. I don't consider multiplayer games like AAA, even though they are. Like, it's just not something that like I would rank
Riot's
up in like.
big enough, I think, for I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Riot
No,
might be
you're right.
the AAA of the planet now.
No,
Yeah.
you're right.
Like-
I just multiplayer games are in like a different category in my mind.
Okay, fair enough.
I will also say, like, I don't typically care for first-person shooters, so that's just not like things I'm into. So I like Valorant doesn't work for me because the style of game doesn't work for me. But like, there's quality there, and it's not like this game is garbage. No one should play it. I'm like,
Right.
oh no, this isn't my thing. They're doing certain things incredibly well. It's just not my thing. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last game I played. I was like, this is trash and should be thrown into a volcano.
You mentioned
What was
one,
the
didn't
greatest
you?
disappointment last few years? Was it Mass Effect? Wasn't the last Mass
But I
Effect?
never played
like,
Mass
totally,
Effect, so.
But like everyone I know, like, was the most disappointed thing in the world from it.
I'm trying to think of a game I just really. I was kind of disappointed in Doom, the new one, but I mean, I wasn't. I didn't. It was still a good game. I'm sure it's just not something that I was really into at the moment.
Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
I'm in the middle because I had higher expectations from the first one. I was just like, I don't think this is that great, and I don't. Yeah, that was probably one I'm like, I don't know if this is that good, and I don't know who I would recommend this to.
Same thing with Resident Evil. You thought that was like a little frustrating.
Resident Evil 1.
Oh God,
Yeah.
fuck that. But then again, I also right? Because couching it, I hated playing it. Like I played it when it came out and I loved it, but it's also like that. It's hard for a game, which actually goes to show you how like kind of brilliant a lot of like Zelda games are. Like because that they seem to stand the test of every new generation. You can always go back and be like, wow, these are still really good games. Regardless, you know, you can give them to kids who didn't grow up with them, and they're like, oh, this game's really fun. But with Resident Evil, the puzzle solving system was just such a stupid joke, in the inventory system. But it was also like my.
I mean, that's
memory,
Resident Evil. To me, that's just Resident Evil having a horrible inventory system.
It's the fuck, dude. You had like 8 items, including your ammunition and your like herbs. It's like,
yeah. I mean, that's
man.
what's supposed to be like, you know, the whole scary, like, I only have limited resources. I have to make decisions on if I'm going to keep stuff to kill things. Yeah. Yeah, what? Yeah, that's what it is, though. That's what they're going for.
No, but I want to give them credit. From my memory, it was the first horror game, right? So the limitations, and that was that early PlayStation era where they decided we're going to make everything 3D, even though it all looks awful now, like visually. Even I mean, granted, like I played the remaster, but it looked interesting, and what it was doing in the era is actually fairly groundbreaking, you know. And I want to give it its props, but my experience was absolutely awful. But
well, it's the first popular horror, I would guess. I'm trying to, because I was trying to think of other ones, but you're right. I don't think of any other ones that really stand out.
No.
I mean, this scared me.
Probably classify certain games like from the Super Nintendo,
Doom,
or like dark themes,
or yeah, Doom was out before then. And I guess that was a horror. That wasn't really horror,
but it wasn't
though.
a horror. Like nothing about Doom. There might be intense moments, and maybe if you're a kind of person who's naturally skittish and hates horror movies, you found it a little off, you know, unsettling. But like Resident Evil's like, this is a horror game.
Right.
We are designing this to scare you, you know, in a way that's like, I mean, they did good. There's certain stuff that's pretty. It's just, God, just even think about those puzzles. Just
hold up. I don't think it's the first horror game. I'm thinking.
No. It wasn't the first one.
Nightmare on Elm Street had a game from Nintendo, and that game was very scary.
Well, and then you got Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and that was Atari. Dude, they had a Friday the 13th for Atari.
We fucking went back and played the Friday the 13th Atari, which made no sense. Didn't you just keep moving in a room and he slowly just keeps walking? And
no idea what to do.
You can't kill him, even though you can keep like shooting him, and it's Atari garbage. It's that stuff. You're like, however, our parents survived on this. Good for them.
Like E.T. for Atari was ridiculous. Nobody had any idea what to do with that game.
Yeah, it's rated one of the worst. Yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
I played it a lot though.
Did you?
Yeah, I played it. We had an Atari. That was
one of the unfortunates that got it for like a Christmas gift, right?
Yeah, we had that, and we had this other game that had like instead of a controller, it had like this remote control with like 20 buttons on it, and you plug that in, and it was like the space simulator. And I had no idea how to use that controller, so I just pressed buttons the whole time, and then tried to fly, and always crashed and died. I don't think it lasted more than a minute or two in that game.
Oh man,
oh, it's so good. Oh,
that sounds about right for early gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, experiencing video games early on. Yeah.
It's like an early game made for all you ham radio fans. We sure have a game for you. It's like, uh-oh.
What was your first like game Easter egg surprise moment that you can remember when you were a kid?
What do you mean by Easter egg surprise?
What do you mean by Easter egg? Like,
I'll give you my example. So I remember I had this Sega Master System. I was one of the unfortunate kids who didn't get a Nintendo. I had a Sega Master System. We went that route. And in the Sega Master System, not only did it have like a credit card games, they stopped making those right away. If you didn't put a game in any slot at all, and then you turned it on, and you held down and pressed start on your controller with no games in it, this little like map game with a mouse on it, this little like maze thing would pop up, and you can go through the maze. And it was like something advertised anywhere. You either just figured it out or you found it out through a friend, because we didn't have an internet back then. So you just kind of figure it out. But it was like this really...
And you were the only one with the Sega Master System, so no one was talking about
like, this is crazy.
The hot Sega Master System news around the proverbial elementary school water cooler.
Was there a subscription service for Genesis? Do you remember
subscription service? Magazine?
Like a Netflix?
Like Nintendo Power?
Yeah, I think... Well, no, that was the game. That was the system, because this is a completely different system. I was thinking Genesis, right? That's a completely different system, right?
You're talking about,
what do you
like,
mean by
Nintendo
subscription
Power?
service?
Like, I don't know. Like, it was a question in chat. I'm just trying to think. I thought there was something. I kind of vaguely remember there being some online service for some console early on, and I don't know.
Console.
An
Okay,
online service.
so now, no, there wasn't like. Now I know that the original Nintendo that um in Japan it never came here, where kids can take like a floppy disk and they could copy games to a floppy disk, kind of like a Netflix, and
Hmm.
then they could take it home and play for it. We didn't have that. I want to
Hmm.
say the earliest subscription service. Shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I know
Uh-uh.
we played X Band. That wasn't a
Yeah,
subscription
you had
service,
to
but it
use
had
your
a
own
news.
games.
It had like a news platform
Yeah.
inside of it,
It was
though.
like a ghetto Yahoo AOL portal with like gaming and
Yeah.
stuff. No, I don't. Man, I'd be fascinated. You know what? I'm sure there probably was some kind of early kind of subscription service, but back then it was the closest thing we had was rentals. And if you had like rental services, but nothing.
Hmm.
That's why Netflix was so interesting. Oh, I would have signed up for it because that was the only way to play a lot of games.
Hmm.
Because like
Right.
otherwise it was just rental and all the friends renting stuff because you didn't have access. And what's
Hmm.
crazy is games cost when we were kids in the 90s the same that they are now. So like obviously things are uh, they're the same price, but people didn't have as much money then because of inflation.
Right.
Because it's something like I think what is it if you do the inflated numbers like shit Street Fighter 2 when Street Fighter 2 came out for the Super Nintendo it was $75 in like 1993.
Wasn't like Final
75.
Fantasy VII like $60, $70 or something like that?
70. Yeah, because like actually I got it for Christmas. Nick got it, and another friend of ours. All of our parents like found out it was the game we wanted, and that was basically all we got for Christmas was that game, and it was the best Christmas. Like
It
That
was
was
Sega
crazy.
Channel, by the way.
it was what?
Brian lied to me.
He
Oh, I
lied.
did, but yeah, I did.
Yeah, so this is what happened. So I asked him. He knew what my mom told him what she was getting me for Christmas, and it was Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, so I knew
And
I knew
then
he was getting it.
and I asked him, I'm like, "Am I gonna like my gift?" And he's like,
Nope,
"I'm sorry, you're not.
sorry, man.
Just act surprised. I'm really sorry."
Yep,
And I was like, "Oh, that sucks."
I'm like it
All
does.
right. And then I
And I
opened up
played it
Final
up
Fantasy
hard, not
VI.
even like a playful. I'm like, no, it's not good. I'm real sorry.
Yeah, I think I told you the story. It was the first game I bought, but I was so young at that point. It was more like it was impressed on me by siblings or my brother that it's a game I would want to buy and it's a game I should try to get. And so I did that when I was really young. Really young. I can't remember how old I was. Um 8, 9ish. When did Final Fantasy 6 come out?
It came out 90.
94?
Yeah, 94.
93
I
or
want to say we got it
94?
Christmas on 94. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so
we
I
did.
was 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not too insane because when I was 8, I played Dragon Warrior 1. Actually, okay. This reminds me of it. Here's a question if you guys have had it. So, has there been a video game in your life? Because this Dragon Warrior one's for me, where you felt like playing it created a shift in consciousness in you, if that makes sense. So, like at that point, right? I was a kid playing mostly traditional Nintendo games, mostly platformers, simple games that are readily understood. And I had in my local rental store had beat every game except Dragon Warrior. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll play this game. And I was 8 and I couldn't understand it. Like how to like I didn't get it where your character moves and you would like click it and you have to actually click an action stairs to go through stairs. The fighting was like, the traditional what would become like the JRPG fighting style. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I rented it, played it for, I don't know, 7 hours and didn't understand any of it. I couldn't figure it out. And I didn't have like an older brother and my parents didn't know anyone and none of my friends understood it. So it was like I was cast away. Like I was on my own figuring this out.
So a game that I might have tried to
So
play and
second
just couldn't figure
time,
out.
yeah, and so I returned at the rental store. I'm done. I don't understand this game. New games come in. I beat all those games. And now I'm back to going, it's just me and Dragon Warrior again. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I rented it again. It's like 3 months later, and I tried it. And at some point, you're like, I get it. I get it. Like, I understand how this works. I understand how combat works. I like equip everything about it. And it was like, it's one of those defining moments of my like gaming life as a kid because you're like, this It literally, it's like transforms. You're like, oh, I can see the door now. I never could see that.
I have
You know?
no. I don't think I've had that moment. I can't recall a single one.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
I mean, Mist. Okay, so Mist, I didn't get,
Ah.
but I mean, I think I wasn't supposed to get it. Like other people got it
How
because
old
they
were
understood
you?
what the game was. To me, I was just like, "What? I'm on an island. What do I do? There's stuff. I'm just walking around. There's nothing I can. All right, screw it." And I just stopped playing. But I was again
Okay.
young,
Yeah.
and that
But you never
concept
like
of what
went
the
back
game
to it, and
was
you're like,
wasn't.
oh.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what the concept of the game was, and I'm pretty sure if someone told me it was just an exploratory kind of puzzle game,
Yeah.
then I might have understood it a little bit more. But yeah, I didn't understand that at all. I still haven't ever played through Myst, so probably should
No.
at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I played through the first three, and I've wanted to play the fourth and fifth. I played Oblivion too.
Hmm.
Well, it's
Not,
funny.
not
You have to
Oblivion.
say it's not Oblivion. You have to
Starts with an
clarify.
O.
Everyone will think you're talking about Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starts with an O. It's
Oh, it's not Oru. Is it Oru?
no, that starts with a U.
I stopped playing after 3.
But Cammy, you gotta answer the
Abduction?
question too. If you have a game
Yeah.
that you were just so
Yeah,
confused
If I
yeah,
have
yeah.
a
about the
game,
controls.
Oh no, just it had a transformative feeling. Like the first time you played an art house game, you're like, oh, I never thought that a simple game could have a big idea in it. There's just something where you're like, oh, video games are much bigger than I thought they were. You know what I mean? Like where you
so
felt like it's your shift in consciousness, the way that you approach like the whole medium.
yeah, that's a rough one. I can't think of one exactly on spot, but I do remember
Well, then table it,
watching.
because you guys I know have them. They're all buried deep within us.
I mean,
Well, I
Mario
do
RPG might
remember.
be at some point because the style of the game was just so appealing to me. Like I just didn't
Yeah.
understand that concept of a game could
Yeah.
exist. And it had pretty much everything that I wanted at the time that I was playing it. So
Were you a JRPGer at that point?
I was an everythinger.
Or
I'm pretty sure
well,
I didn't
because
have a
like by that
preference. I was
time,
just like, oh,
like
this is a video game. I'll play it. You know, it wasn't just
yeah,
like, oh, this is a special. I don't have. And that's another thing. Like, I don't think I've ever got into a point to where I'm like, I'm this type of person who enjoys this type of video games.
yeah.
I just enjoy things.
I was gonna say from 6th grade when I got Dragon Warrior 4, which is my favorite thing. I have up until I mean I would say all my teens, it was like I'm a JRPGer.
Okay.
Like I play other games because they're there, but I will play every role playing game, all
Really?
of them. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm gonna find some for you.
Oh, I got an answer. I thought of it.
But yeah,
So okay, so I guess I have two answers. So my first one is I had played like basic games for the Master System, and I played like Mario and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't actually play a lot of it. But when I saw my brother and my dad play Blaster Master for the first time, and they were like trying to navigate it using the map inside the booklet, it's like this Metrovania type game. I didn't think games can be that big and that complicated at the time when I was a kid. So I was kind of intrigued by that. But I think one of my biggest aha moments was playing Wonder Boy and Monsterland, Dragon's Trap, and that game. I remember like I knew I just jumped around and hit people with my sword and stuff. But there was one time I distinctly remember I had a sword that I just found, and I was jumping and hitting people, and it was called a lucky sword. And I started to get more gold that I normally get from these mobs that normally drop like the small amounts of gold. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have like an item that like modifies something in the game that you're using. I didn't. And instantly I was like, I wonder if I have other items that do that too. And I did. And so I started using those. I'm like, oh, this one helps me move faster. This helps me climb more. So I thought that was like so cool how you have like this inventory that can manipulate the game depending on what environment you're on. And I hadn't really experienced that before. That's why that game has like such like a sentimental
yeah.
value to me.
Well, that's really important though, right? Especially when find those moments on your own. You know, there's something to feel like you've discovered something. It's like pretty transcendent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are
When
really
I figure
powerful.
something
Yeah.
out, and I was like, I can't believe I figured this out, and I'm intelligent. It feels good. Yeah. That's good. That's a good feeling.
Yeah. Feels good, man.
Feels
Feels good.
Feels good. But did we finish up on Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh,
Did we?
there's still a lot more to talk about
Do you
Ghost.
still have a
There's
lot
still,
more to
Actually,
talk about with it?
there's a
This
lot more to
tangent
talk
went on
about
for a
Ghost,
bit. Okay, okay.
which is good.
I have a side comment
That's
about
good.
Ghost, kind of. So
Yeah.
I just wanted, before I forget,
Side comment right back up the gut, so go for it.
yeah. So in Dylan in Red Dead, he would, I guess. So
Oh,
you were talking about like taking pictures and stuff of things,
yeah,
and
with
this
photo
Ghost has this too. Yeah, and like sending friends. So in Red Dead, you like I saw people do videos, and then um, they would voice over their videos and make their own stories. So completely independent. And you could totally do that with this game. You could just make a whole nother story just with the open world concept that it has. I totally see people doing things like that. But it's like a really interesting idea to like take a game another step further in a narrative concept that, might not be satisfying to them at the time, or just do something really funny.
Machinima, right? Just like
you can
a version
immediately
of that.
make your fan fiction.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's fan fiction for video
Yeah.
games.
Okay. I mean, people, if they do it well and it's entertaining, I'm sure it would prosper from it. Making those
Yeah.
YouTube videos. I remember first seeing, WoW Machinima, and I was
I
just
was
like,
gonna say the early WoW stuff. Yeah,
yeah. It
Yeah.
it was there was some stuff that was kind of interesting, and I had no clue how people were doing it, but I thought they
Yeah.
were using some sort of special program to do it, and maybe some people were. I don't know, but I think they were just really good at timing stuff and using emotes and making the mouse move.
that was most of it. Was how much because I forget one I watched that I really liked, and it was like there was a whole group of like 30 people, and then the thing happened, and they all fell, and you're like, wow, that was impressive. And it turns out it was like this whole guild took them 8 hours, like practice timing. You're like, I remember reading about it somewhere on a forum, and it was like they were like running a raid is easier than to choreograph what we did here. I was like, Jesus, you guys are. Hey, your creative director got everyone really jazzed to be committed to this little scene.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it's pretty impressive. Um,
What else
so,
you got for Tsushima?
oh no, I think there's a couple things. So, things that it's doing that I hope is copied everywhere. Their tracking system, like, can we all not agree the tracking system
With
through
the
the
wind?
wind is arguably the most innovative, brilliant thing I think I've seen all year by far.
Yeah, I think
Like,
so.
It's like a
It's-
simple concept too. It's not like too complicated.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the thing is, also, I do just sometimes just keep hitting it over and over again. Oh no, where'd he go?
Oh. He's back.
Is he back?
Am I back?
Well, yeah,
Not with your
okay.
video, but you're back. I can hear you.
Okay, that's weird.
There you go.
There
I
we
was just
go.
talking, it blipped out. I was like, did my internet go down? That's weird.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
But no, it's like I would constantly just hit it and just I'm like, oh, am I going the right way? Hit it, wind every like maybe 10 seconds. Because like if I
Seems
shift a little
excessive.
bit, I'm like, make sure I'm still going in the right direction.
So there are some environments that it's hard to see too. Like if it's raining, it could get a little pain to see like where the wind's going. Or if there's like a lot of stuff around you, it
Or
can be a
just-
little hard.
Goes into a hill.
Yeah, or it goes well, usually you see the wind, like the gusts of wind animation like go up the hill if you
Mm.
need to. But I think it's really innovative. I think
It
it's
is.
really awesome.
Yeah. So I will say, even when it's dark and windy, I don't know if it's my TV, but I didn't have any of that problem. Like
Oh.
it was all pretty clear. Now I didn't do what you were, Mark. It was like constantly auto checking. I was doing here's the guideline. Let me run because like the map's not too big, so even if you're a little off, your overcorrections are not
Mhm.
too bad.
And you can always go to the map and see where you're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really liked it. I thought it created such an intuitive approach because some of the problems I have right? Like Assassin's Creed games, your objective is here. You see the point, and you can just see the point, and you just keep running. You're like jumping over a fence, jump over a corner of a house. Doesn't matter. You just kind of ignore your whole environment layout. But with the wind, it's like I paid a little more attention to everything else around me. It felt, I don't know, it's a little more fluid and dynamic.
Well,
I
it's
was
so
like-
much. It's dramatic too. It makes everything look
Yeah.
cool.
That's true.
And it has like this cool, concept behind it about it being like your father helping you or something of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yep.
And then that dovetails with the way the game wants to guide you to the important parts where like the foxes or the birds, like follow the birds to except one time I had a bird that kept taking me to a house, and he would like fall in front of the house, and then I would be here at the house. I'm looking over and I'm like, bird, we've already been here. I don't understand what
I think I had
what we
the
got
same
going on,
bird. Yeah, I think I had the same damn bird.
right? Oh, I mean, we'll talk about the good stuff, but glitches. Have you guys had any glitches? Because I've had one that
haven't.
was pretty
No.
fucked up.
Some with the jumping can get kind of weird. Like when I try to jump, he does like weird
Yeah.
stuff with his body and everything. But like I've just accepted it is what it is. I
So
don't
I've
like
had-
going under houses either because of the camera switch is.
It's a whole system it transitions to that. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like it either.
Oh
But
man, I wish you
no,
could
there's
just
no
take the
major
camera and
glitches.
move it out too.
I
Like
also don't see the
whole
value
camera?
of it yet. Like why you would most of the time you need to go underneath. Where I'm like, oh, this one I really want to be underneath. Slithering through. I mostly
It's just
ignore
sneak. I mean, if you need to plan things, I don't know.
You got a sneak mission. You're gonna need to go under.
No, I don't like I wish you could mess with the camera angles like you did in Skyrim, honestly. Like I wish you can have an option to pull back your character so you're looking in a more like aerial 3D view because sometimes he takes up half of the screen and I want to see around something and I have to kind of move myself to see around it. I wish there was a little more options with that. Plus like when you're in a house, I want to go like tighter into like more of like a first person because if you're in a house and you're fighting like 3 people and someone like does one of those red or blue sparks that you have to parry, you can't see it. It's just impossible because a wall will be covering up what you're supposed to see. And
You
have
got to
like,
change the
kinda-
right stance, Nick, and just whack
Yes,
him
sir.
at him. Just gotta get your stance changing down, man.
I use water stance most of the time.
How many stances you guys got?
I have 2.
Just 2.
Nice. Yeah, I got all 4. That's right.
Oh,
Nice.
you're cool. You're cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Fought a lot of
No.
leaders, huh?
Oh, hunt him. Oh yeah.
If I
So
see
that's
a
like
group, I
right.
try
This
to kill
game is
them.
like
I mean,
Assassin's Creed meets Breath of the Wild with a hint of like Shadows of Mordor. Like it's all like in there. Like especially like the chieftain hunting.
so
but-
you were talking about glitches, and we went into controls because I guess some of them were a little bit clunky, but glitch.
Oh, I was thinking. Okay, so I have a very specific glitch that's happened. That the first time. So what'll happen is you're on a horse,
Yeah.
and like, do you remember the first area of the game where you come across where it's like cutted woods? Like all the whole woods are super cut down, and then there's like they just completely deforested the area.
Mhm.
Does that
Yeah, I
I
ring
think
a bell?
so. Yeah,
So
yeah.
when I first encountered that, there's a kind of a transition, and basically my horse started running, like taking off, and I'm like, I didn't make him run, and I couldn't, and I was trying to control him, but I couldn't tell if I had control left or right, and he was constantly sprinting. I actually thought I got stuck into a cinematic, and I couldn't jump off the horse. And after like probably a minute and a half, I'm like, oh, I'm just stuck. This is a glitch. I have to literally exit the game and reload it. And so that happened again. Like another level, I was coming across like over a hill, and then you have like a farmstead. So when it was about ready to pop open, you're at the farmstead. Boom, horse took off. And I was like, oh shit, we're having it again. So stop immediately, exit, reload, and you're clean. But that was like the first like really fucked up glitch that I encountered.
I have noticed that like almost every time that I load up the game, there's an update. Since I have
haven't
started
had that
playing it, I
either.
got it when it first came out. So like, I've been pacing
Yeah.
myself slowly, but yeah, they have been updating it a lot. So I assume that they've been finding
I
these little
imagine,
bugs
yeah.
and stuff.
Well,
yeah.
because now they're getting, they're having millions of people beta test, test out the refining of everything. But
yeah.
yeah, no, that was my only one. It was a bad one because the first time I was like, I don't get what's happening.
And it's frustrating, yeah. When you don't know it's a bug first, you just like, I just wasted all this fucking
Yep.
time. Yeah.
Well, luckily it always happens. You don't really waste any time. Like you just kind of get load back to where you're at. But it was.
Yeah,
know,
but I mean, going
settlement.
out and going back in, and yeah.
That is
So-
one thing for this game, though. It is super forgiving. Every time you die, man, you're just gonna you gotta save
Yeah,
points
you
just a
just
second
go back
ago.
out of the area, yeah. Like
Yeah,
nothing
it's
happened.
not like I just played through. I beat Outer Wilds, and that game is not forgiving at all. Just like Hollow Knight is not forgiving. So this is kind of a refreshing game to play, where if I die, I don't care. It's okay.
Yeah. Everything about the game is, to me, relaxing in some way or fashion. Like I never feel forced. I mean, I guess this might be another reason why it's kind of difficult for me to keep playing it is because I don't feel pressure. Like there's no, every time I do something, there's no like, I was just left, on a cliffhanger. I need to go figure this out real quick because I'm going to keep thinking about it. That doesn't really happen with the game, at least to me.
So this was kind of my experience, and I don't know because where you were at in the game, Mark, I was not into it.
Really?
And I think there's a couple different things. Like games that are beautiful can hold your attention, but only for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the mechanics, if you don't love them immediately, they're only going to hold your attention for so long. And the story, I hate to say it, the story is so structurally minimal.
Mm-hmm.
While, and I mean that by like the ideas that happen of revenge and story and invasion are also simple. That there's no subtlety to them. That they're almost borderline uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the stuff you encounter. So I was the same thing. I kept moving through, and I was pushing story, and I didn't care. And then at some point, there is towards the 3/4 way through Act 1, there's then the main storyline. There's a nuance that happens, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? This is interesting.
Mhm.
I like this.
Okay.
And I will say, after about 6 hours of pushing through that, so my point, I'm on Act 2. I haven't touched it for hours. I've been going back and just doing everything on the bottom half of the island. And there's a part where once I got all the deflection trees, and combat is easy, like you crush it. And I love the perfect parries. Ugh, so satisfying. You're just like perfect parry, and just crushing people.
Mm-hmm.
That I actually, all the stuff I found silly and kind of trite started softening, and I'm like, I can see why this game is probably, for a game people beat, I bet you there's a lot of people that platinum in this game. Because you're going to go back and fill it in. And a lot of the side quests, I skipped them at first because I'm like, side quest, a lot of traditional peasant needs a thing, you go do a thing, They're not
Okay.
really repetitive. The stories internal to those quests are fairly interesting, and they're a lot different than a lot of traditional stuff. There's some back and forth. It's not as clear cut as black and white as the initial game treats it.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, it opens up, and now I just love being in the world. I'm like, oh, here's a question mark. What's go over here? And I'm just slowly traversing everything without that rush to finish the game. And so, but that was a shift. I think it was like 6 or 7 hours in before I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not.
And you
I don't
think
feel
that it's
rushed, but
okay that it was 6 to 7 hours in? Like you accept it?
no. I guess.
Because I know
Yeah,
you
it's
fight
fine.
that a lot.
Well, the truth is, I fight that with a lot of games. I typically don't love a lot of things right out of the gate. I don't hate them. I'm just not into them.
Mm-hmm.
But I was nervous. I'm glad the story improved, the main story. And there's a shift that happens in Act 1 that I'm kind of impressed. Well, one I don't like and one I do. But I don't know. I'd say keep up with it before, let it sink in. I think that's something with this game, is it needs a little bit of patience for you to like sink in. Because like with like Sekiro, I was 20 minutes in. You're like, this game is incredible. Like,
Oh
because
yeah, I love the
combat
game so much.
I mean, it's so beautiful, and
Yeah.
I mean that was like my game of the year 2019. Like nothing
Monsters
really
pulling
comes.
stuff out their butt and throwing it at you. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and it's just the combat in that game is so satisfying. But it wasn't until later I found this combat satisfying. I did not like it at first because I don't typically like beat 'em ups, and I don't like slashers where you're just like. I watched the beta for. Did you watch the beta for the Avengers game?
I have been
I
ignoring
have,
Avengers completely because
yeah.
for some reason that game is so unappealing to me. Everyone else is like obsessed with wanting to play it, and they say this is
Which I get,
amazing.
'cause,
It's by
right?
Square Enix. I mean, I should like it, but
And the MCU has never been as big as it's ever been in the history of fucking comics.
maybe
And
I'm just
with
done with Marvel stuff right now. Maybe if I see Marvel stuff, I'm like, it just
no,
looks plastic
actually,
to
outside
me.
of
I don't know.
Spider-Man, here's a fair question. Outside of the recent Spider-Man, name a Marvel game you played as legitimately good and you would recommend it to an average person who is not
Arcade
necessarily
game back
upset.
in the day with the 4-person arcade games that was like X-Men or something. Maybe
Yeah, sure enough.
those were
Yep.
good, but I can't think of very many outside of that.
Yeah, because I feel like that's always one of those really big problems is beat 'em up games are just not that satisfying anymore. You're just kind of beating up the same shit over and over and over and over again. And the way that they have to style them, it's never like you're not Hulk and you have this like 12-point combo system you have that's like articulation. You just kind of smash, 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 dodge, dodge, smash. I mean, they feel like games for kids, right?
It
You know?
is in a way.
Yeah. And I say that for if you're a little kid, you're going to get in here, you're going to have a lot of fun, but you're not
Yeah.
going to be like, you're not going to crush them with difficulty.
I mean,
No,
I think they're just more accessible to people. Just
Yeah.
like not everybody's gonna pick up Sekiro and really love
No.
it. But I think anybody can pick up, I don't know, like Spider-Man or the new Avengers game. I don't know if you guys watched like the old trailer. The game is the graphics look embarrassingly awful because they did the live, like the realistic faces and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that, and it got a lot of a slack for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
I
looked
thought
at the
it would.
new trailer. I don't know how if they've improved it at all.
I watch some streamers play the beta because I was curious, and it's a game I'll skip. Like, I just don't care.
I mean, I
Well,
am
and in
too.
part it's yeah, and I didn't think I would care for the Spider-Man game until I played it, and I was like, this is one of the most fun games I've ever had in my entire life. Like, because the key to the Spider-Man game, by the way, the writing in it is absolutely superb, like through the whole game, but playing the game of Spider-Man, swinging through New York City and doing nothing else is as fun as it gets, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
It was put together well.
and
I mean, like even like I've
yeah,
seen the opening scene where it goes from like the little movie scene straight into you swinging back and forth through the city, and it seems absolutely seamless.
yeah,
So I mean, like I can see why people would like it. I've heard lots of people like it. I mean, maybe that's what will happen with the Marvel game. Maybe people will love it, and then I will hear that afterwards, and I'll be like, well, maybe I gotta try it out later. But it's not. I'm not sold in any way, shape, or
I'm
form to
not.
play it when it comes out. And most games, I'm usually not sold. Like Death Stranding, I was almost sold on it because I love just stupid, crazy concept stuff like that. And I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. So like,
Yeah,
I love Kojima, and so I figured that it's a game that I probably would like, and it's been hyped up forever. And then I saw enough to make me not want to get it because I saw previews with Norman Reedus saying stuff about his bicycle show in the game, and I'm like, I know what this is. I don't want this. This is just like one of those games where people are. Kojima's kind of going out there doing things, and he's just like, here's some clever ways to make money with a video game. And also, I can be friends with people in Hollywood at the same time, which I'm assuming that happened in a good way for him. And so I didn't
sounds
get
cynical.
into it, and then it had its mixed reviews, and I'm sure I would love it if I didn't have other games in my backlog that I'd probably enjoy more in a shorter time period. So
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have my PS4 backlog remaining. Death Stranding is the one that might get the. It's the one because I usually finish everything. If I'm starting it, if you tell me a game takes 25 hours to beat and I'm still playing at hour 8, I'll just keep going. Because also certain games might end pretty strong or change, but Death Stranding's the one that I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous. like,
yeah.
like, but
I mean, I've
it's.
changed my list a little bit, by the way. Speaking of the list and everything
I have to
else,
look at it.
because I added on a game that I thought about it getting, and I need to remember to play it at some point. I don't know if you guys would ever be interested in playing it. Is the Dragon Ball Z game Kakarot that came out?
Uh,
I know
if
nothing about this game.
I would do it for you, I would do it for you, but
I mean,
I'm
I
not
heard
gonna
really good
say.
things about it. And I'm looking at it on my phone because I can't switch to Discord channel while doing the stream, or it'll freak out the cameras and everything. But that's one that I figured I might as well at some point play because when I was a kid, teenager growing up, I didn't have cable. And so Dragon Ball Z was always this like thing that was in the distance that was so cool that I could never like really
Yeah.
interact with, or I'd see it in little spurts, and I'm like, man, I just want to watch Dragon Ball Z. And then after a certain point, it was just like, I'm just not going to get into
Well,
it. But that, from what I heard, is an amazing story. It's a really good story about what actually happened in Dragon Ball Z, and you get to play through it. So I don't know.
It's an RPG.
I think it's action. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And what else did I change on there? Death Stranding's on there, and Spider-Man's on there. Those are the ones that I will probably play at some point. And then I need to go back. There's a couple of games I need to go back and play, which Plague Tale Innocence. I need to go back and finish that game because I've tried to start playing it twice.
I just saw a thing on that.
It's amazing. Like when I started playing it, I really did like it. I don't know why I stop every single time.
I
Yeah,
updated my backlog, not on our thing because I didn't want to.
Well, then it didn't
'Cause
get
it-
updated. If it's not
Okay.
updated officially on the channel, it's
Yeah,
not
I mean
updated.
that's kind of our window into
That's
your
some
world.
bullshit. That's like coming
No,
up to your teacher and be like, I finished my assignment, but it's like totally at home.
I
You can
did it
trust
on
me, it's great.
purpose.
It's all done.
I'll update it if you want. So I went through every system and every game that I've ever wanted to play,
Oh,
and
so your backlog just went like
it's
you have a
82 games.
supernova.
Yeah, my backlog's 82 games, and I didn't want to make you scroll through everything, so
I
just
think we
left
need to
it.
start putting some sort of like. So instead of just everything you'd ever want to play, put on things that you are going to play soon. Like have a
That's what
master
I did.
list.
I'm following that rule, Mark. So don't
Okay.
yell at me.
Okay.
Just yell at
Because
Nick.
I was thinking about you, Brian, a little bit with it. Because there's a
No,
lot on there.
these are all I want to play. Now, if I put Dragon Ball up in here, that's what we call favor time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, these are all I want to play. That's when I look at this. I'm like, shit. Ugh.
And
It's not
things
too
that you
bad.
think you will actually play.
So I'll actually play all 82 of these games. It's gonna happen.
Oh, this is quarantine, dog. This is why I mean,
Yeah.
shit. Quarantine started, and I've already beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games in a few months. Like,
I beat 12.
12.
Not that we're competing, but I beat 12.
Yeah.
well,
that's cool.
you use competing tone, Nick.
He said it so
Yeah.
quick. I beat 12.
Yeah,
I,
he's
I
like,
did
wow,
put White Door on there, and that's like a 2-hour game.
So, the other things that did add on here, so I did watch one episode of Umbrella Academy with Cheryl, and then like we
You
haven't
agreed
been
to watch it separately after that?
maybe not yet. We haven't decided. I haven't asked her yet. I don't know how. I mean, it's okay, but we weren't like we need to watch the second episode now after watching the first one. Do you know what
That's
I mean?
fair.
Skipping that show. I am not interested in that at all.
What? Okay, the other one that I put on here is The Boys. I don't know if you guys watched that.
I did. I've seen the first season. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I kind of skipped it. Brian, I thought that you gave it like a meh review.
Yeah. I didn't love it the way everyone else did. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it just here's where sometimes I will give a review on something, and even I look at it and be like, that's some bullshit review, Brian. Like,
Mhm.
I watched it in one Saturday. Like,
Oh.
I think it was one of those like I got up, watched an episode because I heard it. You know, some people I know were liking it, and then I ended up just spending all of that Saturday watching it. So I binged it enough to like it, but that's also one of the problems with it. That it's one of those shows that binging it really quickly, you can start seeing all the seams of the show and all the problems and the sort of hysterics, the overly dramatic stuff that seems slightly unnecessary.
Mm.
But I can say it didn't leave an impression on me because when they announced season 2, I wasn't like, oh, cool, I'll check it out, or oh, whatever. It's like, okay. So,
Oh, you're not
I
going to
know.
watch season 2? No.
well, here's the thing. I'll say no. I'll accidentally watch one episode and be like, what'd you do? I binged the whole season because I'm a monster.
I mean, I like it was a little bit refreshing to have the horror story of superheroes instead of like,
Yeah.
you know, just a standard superhero trope thing. It was just a little bit refreshing and nice, and I love Carl Urban. That's his name, right?
Yep.
He's an amazing actor, and so I thought that he was pretty good in it too. I mean, the story
didn't-
wasn't like perfect. I mean, there's stuff in there that was just like, all right, but I
No.
mean, like it was enough to like there was moments where you're like, this is a horror show, and I like that. So
Oh,
Yeah.
straight up horror. I thought you meant like it's horrific. Like
No.
you watch like their
No,
depression
it's
and
more
stuff.
horrific, Nick. It's not horror in the way that like New Mutants is supposed to be horror.
No jump scares.
it's just
No,
like
nothing
tense.
that.
It's just like there's moments of like someone could easily die in seconds here, like those kind of things. There's not really any jump scares. It's just there's tension.
No, and
No?
the palette's really light. Like the color palette's really like bright. So it's not. I wouldn't classify it as a horror. I think Mark is.
I'd say it's a super
Overextended.
horror. Yeah. You should watch an episode of it, Cammy. Just watch an episode.
Yeah,
of
you'll
it.
make it
Okay.
determine. You can sway this.
Yeah.
I mean, the first like superhero like shift in consciousness I had was from reading Watchmen, and knowing that like, oh wow, it doesn't have to be a Marvel comic. This is something that has like more realistic adult tones to it, and
Yeah.
you can have these like dark things that are going on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if like
It's not
I don't
exactly
know in
like
the back of my
Watchmen, but it
mind if I'm
has
just gonna.
it, there's some crossover there. I would say there's some crossover with it.
Yeah, because I would be thinking in the back of my mind, man, Watchmen just did it better, but maybe not. Maybe they're completely independent.
I'd say watch, see if you enjoy it. I mean, in worst case scenario, you don't like it, turn it off. I don't care, but I would recommend at least trying to watch it
Well, because season 2 comes out.
next month.
I was like, yeah, it's really soon.
Yeah, beginning next month. So I mean, if you do like it, then you'll have something to look forward to next month to watch. So, and I'm looking forward to it because I did like it. I don't know. I'm not a meh-ish,
Yeah, I know. I just
lame.
that's why when people ask me what I thought, I'm like, I'm not a good person to talk to about it. I don't know what it is.
It's all right. But that was my list changes that I had that I feel were notable. I mean, I would consider it notable that you added 82 games, but what in those 82 games were you like, this is stuff that or is worth mentioning at this point because
Yeah.
it stood out to you.
I did find something that I forgot about that I was really excited for.
Oh, so you're now at 13 beating games?
No,
Not
no, no,
beating?
no. So there's this game called Paratopic, and it's like this perspective puzzler that I saw a preview for a long time ago. It's this weird independent game. But if you have a chance, look it up. They're doing some kind of unique things with puzzlers that I hadn't seen before. Like
Oh.
if you have like a chess piece, if it's closer to you, it is actually larger. And if it's farther away, you can pick it
I
up
know
and
what
it
you're talking
becomes
about.
smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to get the right perspective to manipulate it in the right way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested. I definitely want to play that game sooner than later.
So I'm a person, and I guess maybe this is something I'm finding out recently. I do like puzzle games, but I don't care for straight puzzle games as much as other games that have story to them or something to them. Like I feel like I need that little bit of meat in the story. Without it, the puzzle doesn't seem as fun. Like same thing with Baba Is You. I mean, it was just. I mean, there was
I
something
think that
there,
was,
I'm sure,
I think
but
it's like that was almost like a brain teaser game.
yeah, I guess so.
So my favorite award, like in the independent game awards, are best in design, and like
Yeah.
I gravitate towards that way more than narrative or like overall. Best in design is almost always one of my favorite games of the year. So as long as the game's
Yeah.
doing something new and innovative, I'm gonna love it probably.
Okay. So
It
we figured that out. So I guess you guys already knew this, but right now Cammy is the puzzler,
I think so. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Orpheon is
yeah,
the
for sure.
JRPGer. Is that right?
Well, I just role playing stuff in general because I don't actually don't play as many JRPGs anymore, but they're still sort of like the foundation of like what I fell in love with in gaming.
And I mean, I'm pretty open-minded overall in the way of
Yeah.
what I could enjoy. I mean, I try not to limit myself too much, but I do lean towards horror games more because that stuff is more, it's fun to me. I don't know why, it just is.
Yeah, I love horror. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm, and that's another reason why Last of Us was, I mean, it really wasn't that kind of horror game, but it has those elements in it. Those elements do make games more fun for me. I don't know why.
No, I
So
love horror games.
Speaking of Last of Us, I was looking at Summer Games Done Quick that's coming out on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
They are not speedrunning Last of Us 2. They're speedrunning Last of Us, the first one, but not the second one. I don't know why. It's like a missed
Maybe
opportunity.
it's a spoiler thing. Like it's been out.
I bet you it's an incentive. I bet you, or something like that.
Maybe.
What is the current record though?
Oh, I don't know.
'Cause-
Probably like 3 or 4 hours, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
I was curious if there was a slot. Although I forgot, one of the games closing is a Pokemon game. It's like
Pokemon
When does it
Shield
start,
is
by
like
the way?
their,
Pokemon Shield.
that is their
Sunday.
finale.
Monday?
Yes,
Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday. So this coming Sunday. So we can
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
games done quick next week.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that
And
means
by the-
I'll probably want to beat Ghosts of Tsushima by Sunday. Yeah, I'll beat it by this weekend. We'll be
How
good.
many acts are there? 3, 4,
3.
3?
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
might not be able to. I'm going to be honest. I probably won't be able to beat it, but I'll put some time into it.
I'll try to beat it.
Because I mean, like I do have. To be honest, I am a week and a half from school finishing, so I still have to focus on that finishing up. So I will have my little guilty pleasures of doing video game stuff every once in a while, but it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of focus on that. But there was something else. What was it? I completely forgot what I was going to ask. I know I want to talk a little bit about story stuff with you guys before we
Two
got
last
into the
things
show
for
because
Ghost
I
of
wanted to talk
Tsushima.
because I just did the Final Fantasy 14 story
Yeah.
with MMOs and stuff, and it was such a weird thing for me to start thinking about our days back in WoW. I don't remember playing WoW and then looking forward to patches to see where the story advances to.
I didn't
I
care
always
about
felt
the
like it was
story,
an
to be
excuse
honest with
for
you.
content. Like whatever they put in story was just an excuse to have some sort of content in there for rating or something else. It
Mhm.
was never like there's a story to progress on. Is that right? Do I
So,
remember that right?
That's
uh,
how I treated it.
the people who cared the most about the story. So, did you play Warcraft before, like Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3?
Yes. And so I did care about the
Okay.
story. I mean, I have books.
So,
So
yeah. Okay. So, I would actually expect you to care more for that. Well, then again, though, they did something. Actually, I don't know how they
I
would.
mean, after Wrath hit, Wrath, I kind of did
Yeah.
care because there was some. It was following the Warcraft 3 story, in a
Yeah.
way. So I mean, I did. I
And
didn't really
Lich
care
King
about it.
showing up was such a big deal
It
because he
was
was
huge.
it was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. And so I don't remember that a lot in the Burning Crusade, and I don't remember that a lot after Lich King in any of the expansions after Lich King. I mean, there was
So
some stuff, but it always felt like I don't know. It never really gripped me. With Final Fantasy, like it's the way that they do the story is like almost a single player RPG. It
Yeah.
feels like you're going through a story that's like has substance to it, especially in this recent expansion. And they just finished up the story for that expansion. And I'm kind of surprised by it. There are elements I don't like there's stuff in it that I feel like it makes it lengthy for no reason at all, and stuff that I'm doing. I'm like, I really don't care about this part of the story. Give me something that's more interesting, and then it'll get you there, and then it's enjoyable. But I don't know. I've been pretty impressed with Final Fantasy 14 with that, and I was just trying to remember if I ever felt that for WoW, and I could only think of Lich King.
No. So actually, that's what I was actually going to get at was I'm a person who generally obsesses over story and everything, which is what I care most about. And in WoW, I kind of didn't care either. And I'm a person. One of my favorite video games ever was Warcraft 1. Like, I mean, I fell in love with Warcraft from the beginning. And shit, I still remember buying the box set. And it just said orcs versus humans. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what is this? This has got to be
Simple
cool.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great, and I
Yeah.
loved it. And I loved 1, 2, and 3. Actually, I think Warcraft 3 might have been like the first game where I knew the release date as a kid and was waiting for release and like went to the store. They didn't do midnight releases then, but I went immediately, went waiting for the store to open to run in and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't care. I don't know what it is either about that story where I'm like, and like some of our guildies had some of the, lore obsessives, but even their love of it always felt like not nearly as, I mean, they're not like Star Wars fans, which are crazy anyway, which
Right.
include myself. But it's no, and I think MMO storytelling is inherently incredibly challenging anyway, because how do you do this like massive story that connects to all these like different elements depending on your MMO, how you distinguish the factions, how they have to relay with it, or create a neutral mob, and then how you adapt it to keep going. Like it was kind of smart of WoW when they did I didn't play anymore by then, the Cataclysm. Like, well, people might be bored of this, so let's create an event that literally destroys everything.
Right.
Like, that's actually pretty smart. Actually, here's the thing: WoW Classic. When I went back to play WoW Classic, I'll tell you what I didn't care about. I didn't care about story.
Yeah.
Like, not at all. So.
No. I mean, WoW was because it was just a good MMO. Like the concept of it at that time, and what was going out there was better than anything else that was there.
So actually, I mean, I've seen some of your like Mog talks and stuff, but like in part of your discussions, how do you feel about the story? Like, is it generally something the communities
They love.
really engaged in.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
intense love for the story. And there's, I don't know, Final Fantasy 14 has a pretty interesting community overall. It's pretty varying. There's so many different types of people, but you have the really intense kind of little bit cuckoo people. Then you have the like kind of normal, like hardcore raider kind of people. Then you have, I like saying normal and cuckoo for, I'm trying to use words to treat people like doing the othering thing, but in a video game. But no, the thing is, with the game, it has people who are like in love with the characters, and they're like, no, they can't die. And so, like, when I was following Twitter, like I look at Twitter and people are talking about the story and everything else. Most of it is just people emotionally like crying and disturbed, and they post how they feel so sad and everything after going through it. So people are affected by the story in this game a lot. Like, they're really attached to it, and I don't know. I never saw that with WoW ever.
There's one I didn't even think about it because I stopped playing when Sylvanas went evil and wrecked everything. That because I caught splashbacks on that. I was like, oh shit! Community was pissed.
What's that in Legion?
But they were just angry about it being in the story. They weren't like angry as in like, or they weren't like, well, wow, this is I can't believe Sylvanas did that. They're like, I can't believe the writers wrote that. In the game for Final Fantasy, they're like, reacting to the story and not because it was
they're
written that
reacting
way.
at it like it's actually a documentary happening in real time as opposed to a narrative creation by another creative team. Is what you're saying, right?
I guess so.
Which is actually fair. I think that's actually the way that you kind of ideally want it to, is you don't want to feel like there's a mastermind behind it, kind of constructing it all.
Right.
Instead of being like, I can't believe he did this. You know what I mean? Which I think is a more...
It is really interesting to see it, just because, now that I'm thinking about that, is opinions is no one's ever really hating on the writers for doing things and making characters do things, which I think they do that a lot with WoW. But just don't do it with.
Well, I don't really know the story, but how often do they make really bold choices that are what you were going to call, like, not even controversial, but it's like people are going to have feelings one way or the other.
So they've had moments where people, characters do die in the game, and so there are those moments, and there's also moments where they pull their punches, like they make you think someone's dead and then they're not. But they have, I don't know, they do have some kind of controversial moments, but nothing too crazy. It's funny because a lot of the storytelling is kind of slow at some points, where you have to just kind of go through it, and you're like, well, I'm just learning stuff by, going through the narrative and the story. Nothing's really happening. I'm just learning about the world as I'm reading the story, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so... I think that's pretty softball. I can't think of too many reasons why people would be upset with that besides just being bored. I also know people who don't pay attention to the story at all, and they just they skip every cutscene, because there's tons of voiceover cutscenes all over the game, by the way.
There's a lot. Well, because remember I played it through, my God, I want to say whatever level 40 was, maybe. I mean, I at that time, what was the level cap, 60?
The level cap right now is 80? 80?
Yeah. So I think it was 60 then. So, I mean, we played through the story up through 40. I mean, enough to get a sense of how the game plays, how it feels, how they tell their story. It's funny, I was just thinking about that. But, like, I was more invested in Final Fantasy story because I remember going up to Nick, and he was like, where are you at? And then we would actually have conversations. And I don't think we had a single conversation about WoW like that in the 5 years we played it. Like, literally never.
I mean, they just kind of throw you in it, and then you just have to kind of piece things together by conversations. With the storyline and everything else, and you're like, they're saying these terms, but I have no understanding of what these terms mean, and then you learn what those terms mean later on, like names and places and people and cities and all that stuff. But the story, they by the way, they completely changed it recently, so the whole leveling experience is different than it was before. It's a lot more trimmed down, because it used to be insanely ridiculous how far it was to get from level 0 to past the first expansion. But they trimmed it down so it's a little bit quicker, and they also made it free all the way up to like this first expansion or something. I don't know, the second
Oh.
expansion.
Is it to help out new players?
Yeah, it's just to get people to go in there and play the game. I mean,
Are you trying to recruit us, Mark? Is that what's going on?
I mean, I'm not, because I know I've already been through the pain of trying to get my friends to play Final Fantasy 14, and I've stopped that. So no one sticks
we
to
started
it, and I
with
mean, it's
you.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who survived. Not even Cheryl has survived. I mean, she's played most of it. She's played all the way. She played the most recent expansion, but not the most recent patches.
I mean, you know my struggles with it. I just couldn't get a system that worked well with it because they
Do you
never
not
came
have a
out. I
system
don't know
now
if they
that would
have
work with it?
I do now.
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
But you
do you?
know, I got 82 games for a backlog. I don't know.
No, I'm
No, I was gonna.
done trying to like even convince or recruit people to play it, because I don't care. I always think you just play whatever you want. And there's valid criticisms of the game, but
I purposely stay away from MMOs now because of my addictive personality. I just need to not, because I just get too absorbed. I'm like, I know my limits, and I like the variability of experience, and to properly play an MMO, especially the way that I am hyper competitive and want to be at the top, to do that properly in an MMO, the amount of time you have to give to it, I'm like, I know what I need to do, and I'm like, I just can't.
well, I mean, I'm at that
So
point to where
that's the
I'm
exact.
top level, and I just kind of do whatever I need to do. And I mean, I don't do everything in the game at all. I've stopped that. I've stopped completely doing everything in the game, because I don't do special events. I don't do anything. Just I want to do something, I do it, and that's it.
But the time you put in to lay that groundwork was a lot.
It was, but I enjoyed going through it with somebody. When
No, I'm not saying you did it because you were like, making me do it again.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, you loved it.
Yeah. What were you saying, Nick? Sorry.
Oh well, you were saying like you don't play MMOs because you're really competitive. That's the exact reason why I didn't care about the story in WoW, because I felt like I couldn't, because I didn't want to be left behind at any point. And that was something that, Mark, I know you never cared about. You were always just doing things at your own leisure, and you caught up with everybody regardless. But I wanted to make sure I was like the best DPS, or the best I could be, upgraded as far as the story I needed to be to do all the raids with everybody. And I didn't have the luxury of story. I just skipped it all because I didn't have time.
I did change a little bit. I was a little bit more wanting to level up fast later on. But I mean, like, it's so funny when I first started playing it. I was just playing. I was playing with the person I was dating, actually, at that time. That's so long ago. I'm trying to. That was so long ago. How long ago was that?
What, when Wrath came out?
No, when Burning Crusade, I
With the
met you
BC?
guys. That was
When it ended?
2000. It's 2007 or 8.
2007.
Yeah, 2007, 2008. Something
Can you imagine that? You know, me playing an MMO eventually led me to meeting people and moving to a place that's how much it changed my life.
Well, it's one of those things I always
that
forget.
period of me deciding to play MMO.
Yeah.
And we weren't catfished. You were actually you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I was, I remember going to the airport that first time when I came to visit, and I was just like, I have no clue what's gonna happen. I don't know what
we
these
have
look
those
like at
pictures
all.
somewhere.
I don't know why I did. I don't think I ever looked at pictures of you guys before I came either.
I don't think we really looked at many pictures of you either.
I think we were. No, we were, because like we had to have been. We had to have been Facebook friends at that point.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I might have seen a picture.
No, we were.
or two
There
of
was like
you.
a whole night where our guild decided to all Facebook friend. It was like a Facebook orgy
Was
where
it?
everyone broke the rules. You're
I
like,
don't
oh no, we're
remember
all
it.
doing it.
I just
Yeah.
remember the only reason I found you is because had the sign up.
Yeah, the Royvis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have those
Our
photos
savior.
somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere, and we all went to Vegas and everything, and that was a crazy time. The good old days, man. But yeah, there's so many little decisions that I make in my life, and I'm like, if I didn't make this decision, I wouldn't be where I am now. Like, for example, the decision of working at Blockbuster or Chick-fil-A. At the moment, Blockbuster is still doing okay, so that's not a reason why it changed anything. But going to Chick-fil-A led me to go to my next job where I met Cheryl. If I didn't work at Chick-fil-A, I would have never likely met Cheryl.
That's why you were in it. So I remember when you came out here, we went to the Grand Canyon. I was wondering where we are going to go for breakfast, and you're like, "We should go to Chick-fil-A. They have pretty good breakfast." Like, how do you're like, "No, they're really good. You need to try this. If you haven't tried this, you're crazy." I'm like, "Oh, well, you work there, okay?"
That was a long. Oh man, I only worked there for a year. But
Not on Sundays.
Not on Sundays.
said
Yeah, and
not on
I can't eat
Sundays.
there anymore either because of political reasons now. But other than that,
Mhm.
no. That was crazy. Anyways, this is completely off topic of video games and backlog and everything else.
Yeah.
But
So I have two things about Ghosts of Tsushima that I wanted to mention.
oh yeah, please.
Bringing it back. So
Bring it.
one thing, you mentioned that there was going to be a lot of people who platinum this, and I did look it up with, and Dylan looked it up too. There's no achievement that's missable in this, as far as I understand. So I'm just gonna do something I've never done in an open world game. I'm gonna blow through and just do the story, and then come back and do stuff if I want to do stuff. Because I don't have to be worried about missing any achievements if I want to just pick it up at the end, which is kind of comforting because I hate the fact like I tried to platinum Final Fantasy IX. That wasn't going to happen, and I realized that unless I did 3 to 4 playthroughs. And I'm not going to play that game 3 to 4 times in a row to get the platinum. It's just not going to happen.
That's such shit.
That is an insane platinum to get.
So I that brings up a good point, but you have another point on Ghost of Tsushima, so I don't want to cut that off.
Oh, I just wanted to mention, I don't know how much thought you guys put into haikus, but I put quite a bit of thought into all my haikus.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
To
Is
see if
there
it fits
haikus
perfectly.
that you do in the game?
Okay.
What's that?
I don't know anything about. Oh, you mean when
I
you
have
choose like you have a dialogue choice?
Yeah.
Yeah, to write a haiku.
I have not been to an encounter point where they had me make a haiku.
I have not done any
Oh.
haikus.
I've
No,
been
it
to
exists.
I've been to like 5.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's all
Like,
from
actually-
birds that led me to haikus.
I've never
Yeah,
even. I didn't even
follow
know
all
there were
the
birds to follow. I just
Sometimes
knew
they
there were
lead me to a
foxes.
doorstep, and then sometimes they lead me somewhere nice, but never a place to do haikus.
All right, you'll see.
I
What
know
I'm
it
talking
exists. I read a whole article about someone who actually is like studies haikus and has written multiple books on haikus. A video game writer. He basically was like, "Hey, these are the haikus I wrote in the game. What do you think of them?" The guy's response was, "They did not add anything to the medium, and these are essentially wastes of time." Putting it bluntly, I was like, "That's pretty hilarious." And then he
I think
explains why those haikus are trash.
I think it
But-
just gives you vanity items too. Like each time I do a haiku, it just gives me like a bandana that I could wear.
So that's something I've been doing because you collect the currency of flowers to buy some of the vanity stuff from I want to call him the cobbler. He's not a cobbler, he's a peddler. But does one cobble? And he, I don't even care about the vanity stuff. I just click on, can I afford it? Buy it. Keep going down, buy it. I'm telling him out of flowers, and I keep moving. I've been running with the same half broken mask, and I don't care.
I mean, that does go back to that point that I was thinking about earlier. When you guys keep talking about platinum stuff, I'm like, I've never had the urge to ever platinum anything.
I've got 2.
And it's because you had the urge just to go platinum.
Yeah. It's Shadows of Mordor. I love that game so much that I wanted to do everything on it. So I went through and made sure I platinumed it. And the second one was Spider-Man. And so in the middle of that, I might have beaten 25 games, and I don't usually care to platinum, but those 2 were. As long as they don't have a requirement in there that is beat the game again, I was like, come on. I don't want to play through the whole game again, but I want to go back and explore all the kind of achievement nuances that they want you to do. But that's it. I'm not a platinumer. Nick's addicted to it.
I
have quite a few
well, it's not that I can't stand it. It's just that I have no interest in it, at all. I will only do stuff. I mean, I'll see it. I'm like, oh, this would be kind of cool. For example, The Last of Us, there's coins and cards. I'm like, I'll pick it up if I see it, but I am not going to make a point to get every card or coin or anything else. I'm just going to play through the game because it takes away from the game for me.
If I play through it again, I will make sure to do that, but not. I don't care normally either.
So, I mean, and I remember when WoW, this whole achievement thing started to kick up, and it was I guess Xbox might have started it off really, or like Microsoft and their whole thing. I don't know, but I mean, it's starting to become a big fad, and we saw it, go into uh, WoW, I think, in Wrath of the Lich King, and then like everywhere I went, everything has achievements everywhere. There's just never a game that
Turns
doesn't have
out people
achievements
really
anymore.
like achievements.
I can't believe how big that exploded. And I don't know if that like sells games more or what that it just adds easy playability or more playability to the game by just
Yeah, I think it bakes in additional satisfaction that's not necessarily related to the game, so that if you obsessively love a game, you can find different ways to explore it obsessively and get meaningful accomplishments out of it
Mhm.
instead of like, hey guys, I just killed 100 orcs. It was great. And you're like, cool. I'm sure you loved
achievement.
it. But at least you get an achievement to let you know you had a 100 kill streak.
Right.
Yeah, like I did. I got a platinum in Skyrim, and that like platinum system of achievements helped me experience almost a lot of different aspects of the game that maybe I would have missed unless I would have really like hunkered down and tried to explore every inch of that land.
I
So
mean, I
I
can
think
see
it
that.
gives me like yeah more it gives me more options and some direction. That doesn't always happen with achievements. Like I just finished Outer Wilds, and every single one of those achievements, they're all stupid and ridiculous for the most part. They're just like funny ways to kill yourself, or just, none of them are really like tied to the story or
So
doing
are they
anything
achievements where they
significant to
want
the
to give
story.
them to you, but you earn them mostly accidentally as you're playing the game?
No,
Like,
they're things that you have to
like
do.
if you
Like
die by hit by a baseball bat, fall into a volcano, and that's like an achievement. You're like, is it stuff
not
like
even
that?
like that. No, it's like I know one of them that I didn't get was like get so and so like so much hit point loss before you die. And so to do this, I looked it up. People recommended that you go into a fire and then you walk out. So the fire damages you, almost kills you, but you don't, and then you walk out, and then you gain your health, and you go into the fire, get hurt, and then walk out. And you do that like over and
So not
over and
even
over again.
interesting
And
achievements, just dumb
that's not
things.
something that like you would ever do. It's just something kind of weird and
So
stupid to
is
do.
there a part in the game where you could actually do that, or that is that just a way of
No.
cheesing the achievement?
It's just a way of like they're forcing achievements through a lot of this
Okay.
stuff.
Hmm.
So it's unfortunate. But
Like they
like
don't
there
put
was a
any
lot of
thought
things
into
that
it.
like I did in the game that I like discovered, and I was like proud of myself for discovering. And I was like, oh man, that should have been an achievement. Oh, we lost Brian again.
I don't know what's going on with Brian. He just stops wanting to talk to us.
Yeah.
So I did just hear thunder, like literally when that happens, which
Is
is
it
weird.
is it
I have
gonna
a
rain?
business.
That would make me happy.
Oh, that would
Oh, is
make me
it?
so happy.
I would love it. It'd mean the
Did we
world. To
talk about it the last time it rained, like a month ago?
Yeah,
Teeny
I think it
thing.
might have rained maybe a month ago, but it's just like a little
Yeah.
bit. It's just like a
Well,
little.
when my house, it was pretty good rain because I remember it was a Friday night, and we always joke like, how quarantine has changed all reactions to everything because we've all been stuck in the house so much. And I'm sitting here closing up work, and I start hearing it rain, and I open up the window, and it starts just pouring. And honestly, it made me so happy in such a weirdly euphoric way that it could only be described as if I had actually met Santa Claus as a tiny kid. It's the only it's the did everything okay?
I have no clue what happened, but
Do you have to
I
go
thought
deal
that
with
was a
some?
police siren. What was
it
that?
wasn't a police siren. No, that
That
was
was
that was my wonderful wife
Cheryl
screaming.
alarm.
Oh, she found a scorpion.
Oh,
Oh
that's
no.
legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
you better
away.
move.
I'll let you guys talk. I'll let you guys talk for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Okay.
So you guys have to run the show. You have to do all the work.
You
that's
know
fine.
what I haven't seen a monsoon around here that was like flooded the streets or just like a river in a while.
It has been a while.
It's been a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of years.
No, it was good. But yeah,
So
that rainstorm.
how far
Oh,
did
it
you
made me
get in
so
Outer
happy.
Wilds?
So because of Mark's request to play Ghost, I kind of moved up the queue. I am still not very far, like at all. So remember last time you were kind of hating on it, but did you get to a point where you kind of just fall into it?
Oh, I absolutely did. It was a
Yep.
complete shift in the game.
Yep.
There was one part, and I hate doing this, but there was one part where I did look something up because it was so the one thing the game doesn't do is make everything super intuitive.
Yep.
And
Well, don't you have to like actually talk to every single villager in the town and like really pay attention to what they're saying, and then you get more of a sense of what you're supposed to do.
Oh, that's just the beginning. I'm talking about
Oh.
like as the game as a
Oh.
whole. So did you look at the rumor system at all?
No, for all I know, you're lying to me. I have no idea.
Like you can look at each planet and it'll tell you like as you discover things if there's additional things to do in there. And so there was nothing left for me to do in this area, but I still felt like there was. And so I looked it up and I was right, but it just didn't help you out and tell you that. So it's really easy to overlook things, and since the solar system's so expansive that you could just not find it. And the hint that they gave you was not a good hint at all. So
Was it like the
really
hint that guy put out his code for where to find the secret $1 million treasure chest? And it's like this weird poem, and you're like somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. You're like, nice. Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by the way, it's a very tiny scorpion.
Mhm.
Still scary.
Yeah.
Still burn the house down.
It's about maybe an inch maybe. And I don't know
Yeah.
if I can show it on Twitch because it might be considered.
Do you have to pay like a rights issue?
Maybe.
Is that like too nudie time? Is it because it's naked?
No,
Yeah.
it could be something like harming insects. Maybe there's a thing. I don't know.
Oh, I see. But you could describe what you're doing, and that's like fine. Just can't show it.
Maybe?
Well, can't you show? Do you have it in a glass jar or something? Or
No, I have it between a pair of snips. It's
I was gonna say if it's a glass jar, you could probably get away with it, but don't show it's like we're decapitating a scorpion.
no.
Put it in a cup.
Huh?
Put it in a cup. I want to see this thing.
I no.
Okay.
I'm gonna go flush it down to it. I'll be back.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I read. So we tried to do that. We flushed it down the toilet, and then both Dylan and Shannon read that if you do that, they can live up to 2 days in the inside water in the toilet, and they can crawl out of the toilet. So
Okay,
you're supposed to, if you go outside and dispose of them somewhere.
Okay, I will do that. Yes.
Yeah, I would build a fire and make them one with it.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Go back to whence you came, particulate. I'm turning you back into pure carbon.
That's some bad that's some crazy stuff. I'm glad that we don't have scorpions.
Well, I'm really glad I don't have any scorpions in my house, but I'm
You don't
lucky.
have any bugs in your house.
None.
Yeah.
It's awesome. This is great. I want to wait because we haven't even brought up Uncharted.
Oh, so on Summer Games Done Quick on Friday, they're doing a short hike, and then right after that, they're doing Baba Is You, and I thought that was kind of fun.
That's
because
really weird.
We did those back to back too.
Yeah, we did those back to back. Yeah, that's really weird. Doesn't he beat Baba Is You in like 30 minutes or something?
27 minutes. Yeah. But I mean, once you know how to do everything, you just blow through it. It's just memorization at that point.
Well, right, and just the pure execution. Like,
Yeah, I'm
when
sure
you're running
they're
that. I mean,
glitches,
all speed running is a lot of execution, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You're live.
so I wanted to actually talk to you guys about two things. So we were talking about adding games. Now I did add the 4 Uncharted games to my list.
Yeah.
Because I've
You
never
just
played them.
casually just beat those games.
Yeah, I beat 1 and 2 over the weekend. Well, they were
How many hours is that? Are they that short? Or-
7 to 10 each, I think.
Oh, that's not that bad. Okay.
Yeah.
But you just made that. That was your whole weekend.
It was a good chunk, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I watched some movies, did some other stuff, but yeah, it was a good chunk. So Uncharted 1 it's okay. It's good. It's weird to think it's a 2007 game. But it lays the groundwork, right? Because obviously that's how we started doing this, like our love of Last of Us, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
It lays the groundwork where you can see they're going to start doing the stuff that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
So I beat it, and it was fine. It's not great, but it's not like a bad experience.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
how
okay.
I felt. Yeah.
It's early, but Uncharted 2, holy shit! I don't think there is a game that made the leap from one to 2, or just a sequel that made the jump that was that dramatic in terms of its technical innovations. It's just restructuring. It gets big. It's also super. God, it's beautiful. The game is gorgeous, and considering it was only made 2 years after the first one, and it feels like it's a next gen title, but it was same gen, and it's like. Oh my God. Like, I mean, I would tell everyone, hey, if you really love Naughty Dog stuff, go play the first Uncharted. narratively, there's some important pieces. I don't know how it's not super long, but go play Uncharted 2. Like that is. Do you like Last of Us? My God, go play Uncharted 2.
Yeah,
It's
a lot of fun
because it's like Uncharted 1, 2, where there's what I really liked about like the Last of Us stuff is they have a really good tempo of when you're moving through a level and mobs are showing up, you never feel like, why are you throwing more mobs out? Like we've done this. Now you're just trying to see if I can survive. But they get a sense where the dramatic tension is ramping in a way that feels kind of natural, and so when you feel like it's going to end, it feels like, oh, the level's over. This is where it should end.
Mhm.
One fails totally. Uncharted is like, okay, you just are throwing mobs because you just need to kill time. It's like old school. You can tell where they were trying. I was like, the games are like 70% movie, 30% video game. Where they were making this 2007, it's like, okay, we can't do this yet. I don't think the world's ready to make this. They're gonna complain it's too. Remember that when people complain that games were too cinematic,
They still do.
They
They say, "Oh, I'm just playing a movie," and so they get yeah.
There are the complaints there, but it was like a deal breaker back in the day, and I feel like that is scaled back. Also, they got a lot better at cinematics and how to make it creatively immersive.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited for 3 and 4. I know 2 is the gold standard, and it's like the best.
It's downhill. I mean, it's not like horrible. Like you're not like it's not a roller coaster downhill. It's more just like, all right, it's not gonna live up to as good as 2 was.
Which is why I'm gonna go play a bunch of other games in the middle, and then I'll jump back into 3. But I'm looking forward to it. I love their style of their action storytelling games. Like, which in 4 ends Uncharted, and so Last of Us is supposed to be ending, and I'm really curious what Naughty Dog is going to do for their next IP, because they don't have a game coming out anytime soon. I'm curious what they're working on, because the studio's enormous, and they have a fucking fortune now. So I don't know. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell about Uncharted, like other than checking it out. So I went back to look up my favorite video game awards to look at, besides like the IGFs, are the GDC awards, right? So the Game Developer Conference Awards. And of course, shockingly, like Uncharted 2 won everything from 2009. But do you guys have an award system that you guys particularly care for or look at or think is really valuable? If you look at the list, because like,
I just go and look at Steam reviews maybe and see what it looked like, how, because it could be really horrible where people just downvote stuff or just say it's horrible before they even play it and all that stuff. But you can, if it's been out for a while, you can usually figure it out and navigate through the reviews.
Because I found like if I look at like the GDC awards, they have like narrative, design, a lot of the more traditional stuff, but most of their categories I wouldn't disagree with any of them. Like they're pretty on point. And Death Stranding's on there, which I'm like, man, I know I still don't think I'm gonna like that game, but I can't wait to be proven wrong. Like that'll be.
I mean, when you finish it, you'll be like, okay, all right, I'm not upset. I think that might be what it is. Like you'll play through it, you'll be like, I really don't know if I'm enjoying this, and then you finish it, and you're like, I guess I'm not upset. I'm fine with it. I think that's the kind of game it is.
Yeah.
Like you finish it, and even though you thought you were going to be really angry because you weren't really happy playing through it, when you're done with it, you're just okay. I'm fine.
We survived the journey together. Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming. I don't know, but one other thing that I did. I know we don't talk about like stuff we watch as much, but I did finally go back because it was available on Netflix and watch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yeah.
You're late on that train. I don't even remember.
Late. I feel like we're doing the other podcast with the 20-year back part. I mean, probably older than that. I can't remember when that movie came out, but like, it was kind of crazy. I think Jim Carrey was actually depressed when he was doing that, and so
Is it 99?
I think he enjoyed it.
Oh no, 2004.
He didn't enjoy it, but he made it really convincing because he was already depressed while acting depressed. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
That's his like only serious role that I really enjoy. I mean, I like some of his goofy stuff, but for the most part, that's the only movie that I really like him in.
Liar. You could say that was a serious movie, but like, or you could say that was a funny movie, but it was kind of serious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What movie?
Liar.
No, I was thinking his acting career was very different post Man in the Moon. Like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everything.
When he became Andy Kaufman.
He functionally changed as a person post that.
Yeah.
Movie.
But it was good. I was surprised by it. It's always, when I go back and I watch older movies, I always you can do that a lot with movies. Funny enough, more than video games and everything else, because the video games are kind of like a newer medium. But movies, like you can find these hidden gems that you didn't think that you would enjoy, and like they last over time, right?
So
For sure.
is that a hidden gem to you?
It's not a hidden gem. No, I know that people like it,
like-
and I know it
It's
won
like one of the
awards and
20th
everything
century
else.
classic.
But
It's
it's
like one
a
of the
movie
21st
that
century
passed me,
classics.
and I paid no attention to. And to me, it was something that was never in my front view. And so to me,
Yeah.
it was an unexpected pleasure of watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
I know it's it was a big movie.
I'm just making fun of you. Yeah. No, it's like I watched what movie did I just watch? I watched The Graduate like the other night, which is a 1967 movie. And
Is that your first time watching it?
I saw it when I was younger, but I don't so I remember it, like sections of it, right? And obviously the ending of it is one of the most famous endings in like film history. My difference now watching it is my memory of it is the movie was romantic, like a kind of romantic movie that kind of ends with this really dramatic ending where they shows up at the altar and yells her name and then they all run away and get married. Watch it now, it's a horror story. The lead character is a fucking monster. And where if I had watched it when you were young, you can you identify with him and you realize, oh wait, he's not a hero. And even the way like he goes in, shows up, screams the wedding, she leaves it. She's making nothing but terrible choices. And when they're on this bus, like running away for their runaway bride kind of deal, he's looking forward and she keeps looking at him and he's never looks at her because he actually doesn't care about her. And she keeps looking and looks away sad and he keeps looking forward. And all you could think of as his face flattens out is from Job from Arrested Development is just, I have made a huge mistake. And so you're like, oh, this is a horror movie. I never realized that because it's always put up as this sort of like deeply romantic. And the way that I always remembered it was this was like stupidly romantic movie. And it's like, it's not at all.
I kind of always thought of it as like a really depressing movie.
I've never seen it, so.
It's also a comedy. A lot of it's really fucking funny. Like it's purposely really funny. Like when he's actually going to go see he's going to go propose and kind of break everything up. He's telling his parents who are excited because they want him to marry this girl. He doesn't understand it. And she's like, oh. And then they're like, oh, you haven't talked about this? Oh, no. And she goes, son, have you thought about this plan? It sounds half-baked. It's fully baked. Like, and it's pretty good.
Oh, I will make you guys happy with this because we did have a conversation a long time ago about how I never watched Princess Bride, but I did eventually go watch that. Cheryl and I watched it.
Recently?
Within the last 6 months.
Okay.
That's a movie you can watch over and over again and catch lots of little things and just have fun with it.
What's the main guy's act? That guy was just like so famous back in those days, like the 80s.
Andre the Giant?
No, which one?
The main hero guy.
Roberts.
What?
The Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yes, him.
Is it Carrie Yules? Carrie?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing his face a lot in older movies.
He's in Liar Liar, right? He's the dad in Liar Liar, the stepdad.
So he became really big, like post, like he was probably a higher list actor, but he slowly settled down and sort of like his career never really took off like a lot of people.
Yeah, I didn't see him much, after the 80s. I don't think that I saw him too much.
No, and he still shows up every now and again.
Does
stuff. He? Yeah. Yeah.
He was
in fact, arguably the only
recently.
super famous person in that movie was Andre the Giant, who was very famous even then.
Yeah. Which he did great acting. He was a great Andre the Giant.
He's really good. He's so perfectly like the lovable. I just want you to feel like you're doing well.
Yeah. Do you guys hear the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, that's your cat?
I didn't realize you had a cat.
Yeah, I have a cat.
How long have you had cat?
Year and a half.
Shit, that's a while.
It's been a while. But no, we got it. It was when I went to Paris.
You got a cat in Paris?
I didn't get a cat in Paris, but
I was like, that's romantic.
Yeah, no, I was going and there's Kerr, Cheryl, was working a lot with cats for what she was doing with at work. And it turned out that she started to actually like cats in some way or fashion. And she was going to
Yeah.
get a cat while I was in Paris and call it Paris, so I'd remember all the rest of the cat's life that I went to Paris without her. But she didn't do that. It's not called
Oh,
Paris.
that is such a wonderful fucking like marriage troll.
Yeah. But no, it's Noct for Noctis. If you guys even know what that
Mm,
is, it's from Final
yeah.
Fantasy 15. But
I know it's from 15, yeah.
yeah.
I played it. I played Omni Opera Final Fantasy for your phone for a while,
Oh.
and you can get all these different characters from all the different Final Fantasies to play with you. So I had him in there.
Oh.
When did
That's
you
my
stop?
extent.
Did you quit playing that, Nick?
Yeah, I quit playing that because I asked everybody I knew to play it with me, and nobody wanted to. Mark has a similar experience.
With Final Fantasy 14, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
I was gonna say that Dread Pirate Roberts was one of the main characters in Saw. I forgot that.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah.
You know, I think
Yep.
I watched the first Saw a little bit through, and I couldn't. It was difficult for me to watch, and I saw the second one, and just like for some reason that series was really just difficult for me to watch, and I just didn't want to watch it anymore because I knew it was just gore.
Too gory?
Yeah, it's just like
It's
a
torture porn.
yeah, it's a gore
It's
porn
torture
thing, and I was
porn.
like, I don't know if I really enjoy gore porn. Like I never
Yeah.
saw Two Girls in a Cup because I just didn't want to ever see that. Like people just are
No.
like, why would I watch
don't-
that?
I don't know if
I
that's the
make it
same category. Maybe
I'm gonna
that's
go
disgusting.
with it, maybe.
It's
I make
disgusting,
a general
horrible
rule.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
do not watch videos where there's a secondary market of people who watch videos. The whole videos are people reacting to said video. I don't watch those videos. Like
Okay.
it's like, what has he got? Blue waffle. Don't look it up.
Yep.
Like Two Girls One Cup. I was like, I'm good.
And there's one with a
I've
glass
seen the way you all
jar
react.
and
And I've seen
something.
enough.
One guy, one jar.
I've seen enough
Yeah.
horrible shit. Oh God, I've seen enough horrible shit
Yeah.
on the internet. I'm good. I know this is not one of those.
Yeah,
Like
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when a lot of that shock stuff was starting to develop with the internet, and like here's videos of people being beheaded and all this other stuff. I'm like, I would never want to see that. There is no reason I would want. I understand what it would look like, and it's not something I ever want to see in any way, shape, or form. I just don't care for it. And so it was so weird to me that got popular, and people were all watching all that stuff. Am I weird for
See,
not?
I don't
liking
want
it?
to. No, I don't want to see it either. But I also want to know like why other people are reacting the way they are. So I'm like curious, but not to see the actual thing. I just want to see what's causing that thing.
I'm not even curious at that point. I'm like, you watched a stupid shit video that's horrible to watch. Why would I? Okay, I get it. You're
Yeah.
reacting to something horrible. I don't care to see something horrible. I don't know.
I have no desire to seek
What?
that out. I have no desire to seek that out. That's
Yeah.
no.
All right, we're hitting
But
that
that's
point
like
to
a-
where my animals are being a little bit crazy, so we can. Unless
Gotta
you
go
guys
take 'em
have
for a
some
walk.
big points you want to go through real quick.
So we're just gonna play Ghost of Tsushima for the next
Yeah,
week.
we're
is
just
that
gonna
right?
keep playing it, I guess.
And Brian's
Games done
gonna beat
quick.
2 or 3 other games besides that.
I mean, honestly, I think
I also have Friday off work, so I might be able to squeeze another one in.
Oh no.
They just gave a random like company holiday for Friday, so
So I
Okay.
didn't really get to talk. I want both of you to play Outer Wilds, and then I'll talk about it. But I beat Outer Wilds, and that really has like a lot. It does something with Groundhog Day that I think is a
Yeah.
little innovative and fun. Like
I
has an interesting concept with it.
I've been thinking, and that is a game that I want to play, but if I run out of time and you guys really want to talk about it, I'm okay not playing it and just watching it and then talking about it. Because I think
Yeah.
that I'd be okay with it. Just
So
because-
here's what I know of the game. I don't think this is a game that like you can watch it and get even at all the same experience compared to a handful. Like, I think even Ghost of Tsushima, if you watched a lot of it and watched through the cutscenes and watched it, I think you can get an approximate feel for it. But for Outer Wilds, it's not. Like
You can't, because if you just watched it, you would watch like a 16-minute video, and then it would be done. Where the real game takes place is as you're like learning things and then die and then relearning things and die and relearning things and piecing together the story to figure out how to beat it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will. I just don't know when I can get it on my plate to play it.
It could be way in the future. It doesn't
So
matter
what are
to
you
me.
gonna play after Ghost, Mark?
I don't see a future after Ghost. I don't see me ever beating that game. It's just taking so long. I
Which
do.
is funny where you're at, and you're not doing side stuff. You've only must have
I
played
am
it
doing
for like
side
4
stuff.
hours.
I'm doing. If I see something, I do it.
Oh.
You know,
Okay.
I don't actively seek to go into blank spots on the map. But if I see it on the map, a question mark, or I talk to an NPC and they're like, "There's this thing going," I'm like, "Sure, I'll go do this."
And I will say too, where I'm at, like I feel insanely overpowered for everything. Like when I follow a quest, it's like kill people. It's just dun 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 dun, move, kill, dun dun dun. Like, you know,
Mhm.
and once you get more proficient with combat, like any encounter is simple. I know that's probably going to change in Act 2, and I assume Act 3 is probably going to be very difficult. But where you're at now, it's not hard.
Yeah.
You'll once you get into sync, you'll be able to start breezing through all the side quests. But
Yeah. But I mean, I guess there's still some stuff with Final Fantasy 14 that I need to finish up. They have other stuff besides the main story that they released. That have like there's other stories in the game besides the main story that I need to go through.
when did that new expansion go live?
The patch for this recent patch was Tuesday,
Okay.
so just a couple of days
I knew
ago.
that there was a big thing coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm probably going to go through some of that this week, and then Games Done Quick is probably going to be the main focus of what we talk about next week.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
If you guys have a chance, we didn't really get to talk about it, but I think that WoW is doing something kind of interesting with Shadowlands as far as their level squish and how you're going to have to play the game from now on. They're restructuring the game completely.
Is it
which
worth
kind of interesting.
trying to play?
So okay, I'll try to explain it real quick. So
Okay.
level cap right now is 120. They're squishing it down to 60. And what they're doing is if you're a new player, meaning you've never reached a level cap with any of your characters, and you start a new character, level 1 through 10 is in your starting zone for your race. Level 10 through 50 is Battle of Azeroth, the one that they're in right now. And then the last 10 levels is in Shadowlands. Now, if you've already had a capped character and you want to create a new character, you do level 1 through 10 when you create a new character in their starting zone. And then 10 through 50 is any one of the, what is it, like 7 or so expansions or classic. You choose which one you want to play. And that'll get you from 10 to 50. So if you really like Burning Crusade, you play through the whole thing, takes you all the way to Shadowlands. And that's that way you can kind of make the choice of what expansion to play
That's
instead of
weird
having to
me.
play
I don't
through
know.
each one. It's different, but it has like kind of a interesting idea of like, man, I really hate this expansion, or I like the story in this expansion, but when I play it now, I leave it in the first like 3 levels, and I don't get to really capture everything in it, and it's just wasteful to me.
I mean, can you just go back and you say, I've already capped my level, now I want to experience this expansion and go through that expansion after you leveled up already, or?
I don't know. So there's a lot of what ifs in there, but the cool thing is, as far as story goes and progression, is Battles of Azeroth is like current. So if you want to go back to an expansion, you have to talk to Chromie, and then it's like you're reliving the past. So they created a new save point in history, and that's right where you start.
Okay, so I don't know, man. Blizzard's hurt me so much.
Oh, I'm not saying it's worth playing. I just thought it
Yeah.
was an interesting thing that I haven't seen in
It is
MMO.
interesting. They need to just come out with WoW 2 or something, man, and just that would get me maybe to play again if there was like a WoW 2 or something, but not WoW 2, but something their next MMO.
I don't think they'll ever do that because isn't like they essentially built WoW 2 internal to the game because like where the game has evolved so far, like on their
How do
their
they make
internal
people like them
systems.
again? I mean, they have so much bad PR. I mean, if they come out with another MMO that's really like interesting and gets people together and revives that feeling of a new MMO, people will probably start liking Blizzard again. I don't know.
I think they just have to reinvent the MMO because they kind of did that somewhat when you played EverQuest and then you went to WoW, and then at that point it was like, how do we create MMOs in the WoW era?
I mean, the
But
WoW
all of them just
market. I
look like
mean,
WoW
the
now.
MMO market could use a reinvention, but and no one's been able
Yeah.
to do it. So if they can figure that out, then sure.
Mhm.
But all right.
Yeah.
game's been
I will do my best to play Ghost of Tsushima.
All right.
I will try.
Try to at least get to Act 3.
That's asking a lot, man.
Hey, you got to reach for the stars. Maybe you'll end up with the moon.
I'll probably land on the moon.
Nice. Act 2 will feel like an accomplishment. Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess we can do that, and we'll talk about games done quick because I'm interested to see how it's going to play out.
I am too. I still think this will probably, I mean, it'll probably not go smoothly, but if there was any group of people that could transition this as well,
They would be
I
there, man.
feel like they would do it.
And they've done some
everyone
remote events already, so they have ability to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I mean, I'm still enjoying meeting up and talking to you guys and everything every week.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things of the week.
Something to look forward to. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm going to go give some attention to the animals, and then I don't know, I guess I'll let you guys go. What you say?
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we got to say bye to the VOD too, people watching the VOD. Bye, people. Bye. All right, I'm going to cut the stream now. See, and yeah, everybody, we will be back next week, and that's our topics, of course. I know we don't really direct our a lot of what we're saying to chat, which is abnormal to me because I usually always talk to chat and viewers and everything when I'm doing stuff. But next week we'll be back. I think we're going to keep it 7 p.m. PST, right?
Yep.
Wednesday nights, and then we'll probably talk more Ghost of Tsushima. Probably talk about Games Done Quick because that's something that's pretty big for all three of us. So, yep. All right, bye guys. See ya.
Cool. Bye everyone.